Namaskar, hello and welcome to CIET NCERT's live phone-in interaction. My name is Tanvi Khurana, and in this English class for all the 12th class students, we bring you this discussion on assessment of writing skills, a new normal perspective. Well, what is this new normal perspective, and what was the perspective we have been dealing with till now? Is there any difference? Is there any major difference? Well, there are so many questions that comes to my mind. What about you? If you want to ask anything at all regarding this topic, regarding the writing skills, or regarding this particular topic, then please reach out to us. Don't hesitate at all and send your messages through our YouTube channel, which is NCERT Official. In the live chat box, write down your questions, queries, and share them with us. We have an expert with us in our studio, and she'll be more than happy to answer all your queries, all your questions. So let's meet her. She is Mrs. Homi Astabans. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
So let me just give a brief introduction of ma'am to all of you. She is an educational consultant and teacher trainer. And if you want to know anything about the details about the schedule, timetable of our programs for the next week, then please visit our website CIET and Swayam Prabha. If you want to call us, the number is 8800 440 559. Call us and raise your questions. So for the next 1 hour, our expert, she is going to be here, and we'll be talking, we'll be having a brief discussion about the writing skills. So let's just begin this entire discussions, and I would like to begin with the definition of writing skills. Ma'am, please explain what exactly are writing skills.
See, writing skills, you associate a number of words with that. See, for example, association of ideas, expression, content, handwriting. There are so many things. So out of this, you need to pick up two very important words. Okay. Now, the first word is the purpose. Why are you writing? Why are you writing? So once the purpose is identified, then that defines your format, whether it is a letter, article, or whatever. And then, of course, you have the target audience. Target audience is very important because then you know the kind of language, the kind of content to be used. And all this while we've been thinking writing as a skill, but it's actually a process. It's actually a process.
Okay, okay. And so if I want to ask you that why particularly you picked this topic for this session?
This is a topic which is supposed to be multi-choice, multiple choice, but it has left us confused. So normally we started saying that it is the most confusing kind. And why so? Because textual questions, you are used to it. But writing skill through MCQ, it's quite unheard of and quite a difficult thing. And we teachers are also finding very difficult. So of course we are learning how to train ourselves first, and then to tell the students, well, this is how you need to attempt, and this is no longer confusing.
Okay, so maybe that's the new normal perspective we are talking about.
Yes, that's the new normal perspective.
Okay, and if teachers are finding it difficult, so how are students going to grasp it?
See, the teachers have had to train themselves, find out either through person or attend a couple of workshops. They themselves need to know, because until unless you know, so you're going to convey the wrong message to the students. And as it is, a word of warning to the students is, because there's a lot of material floating around, and then there are so many shortcuts and tricks how you can do it. See, things like the option with the longest answer is the correct one. Well, that is not so. You have to, I mean, it's a shift. MCQ, especially in writing, is a shift from the rote learning, exam oriented studies to the present style, and that is to cater to the 21st century skills. So it is taking you to critical thinking, and it's not that you've just mugged up and forgotten about it. So you have to cater to the present demands of the century, decision making and things of that sort.
Okay, okay. So I can see that there's a presentation in front of us. Would you like to give us more details regarding what is it in the presentation that you have prepared?
See, the presentation is nothing new as such. It's just a recap. Now, MCQ, as I mentioned a moment ago, that it is there are no shortcuts to it. You have to have a logic to it. Logic in the sense that MCQs are testing your maximum knowledge in minimum time. Okay. And no wonder all competitive exams are through MCQ. So in this case, as I just told you earlier when you just began, I told you two important words, the purpose and the target audience.
Okay.
So it's a quick recap of all that, and I'll just take you around. Now see, for class 11 and 12, you know what you have to do. Notice is for both classes 11 and 12, and this is a quick recap how you can revise to know the nitty-gritties. Once you know the fundamentals and the nitty-gritties, you will be able to attempt any kind of MCQ. We'll quickly go through this. See, first and foremost, as I said, the purpose, the target reader, and here of course I have categorized notice, advertisement and invitation. There's a lot of similarity. See, for example, the format. So I've just put tick marks there, and where it says target reader for the invitations, which is of course in the second term, and the purpose of the notice, purpose of the advertisement is quite similar, and that is answering the question 5 WWWNH, what, when, where, why and how. The language has to be simple, formal, brief, relevant and complete. Then we come to accuracy. Accuracy is important, that is grammatical, and fluency has to be maintained throughout. That's a very important aspect. Now, report an article for class 12. Now see, they're very similar in the sense that the target reader would be almost the same, but the purpose can be slightly different, and it has to be of course logical and accurate, and in the article it can be fictitious and imaginative. Unlike the report has to be factual, it has to be based on the facts as it is. And purpose, of course, specific purpose for a report as required, and format, of course, bold and catchy headline and things of that sort. So this was a quick recap. In other words, you need to know your writing skills thoroughly. Then only you will be able to tackle all your MCQs.
Okay, ma'am. Above the slide we just saw, it was written the words as 120 to 150. So is there any restriction on the articles that the specific number of words need to be written?
Yes. Okay. Yes. But now all those articles and all, they are to be tested through MCQ.
True. Okay. So you have got a lot of material to show to our viewers. Shall we go through that?
Material in the sense that I have prepared some samples,
Okay.
Sample questions. But before going to that, I would like to tell you very clearly something more about MCQs. What is it that you need to take care of? See, number one, as I said, please don't go for any shortcuts, any tricks. There is no shortcut.
Okay.
The only way out is the logic, and your fundamentals, your knowledge of the content has to be accurate. See, your understanding of all these skills. With your understanding, you should be able to apply, analyze, evaluate any form of subject matter, and that will facilitate your attempting the MCQ questions.
Okay.
Now, MCQ questions, let's have something very, very clear. See, to start with the writing skills, we just discussed those two words, purpose and the target reader. Now, I want you to add two more words to it, and that is the process and the product. Now, product is what you write, what you go through the process. Now, writing skills is a process. So, we go through the process of writing skill. So, the other two words are process and product. And the next important word is coder, the fifth word. Now, coder is C-O-D-E-R, that is collect, organize, draft, edit and write. You have 5 fingers, so remember all those 5 words. What are they? Purpose, target reader, product and process. Now see, perhaps we may have been taught by way of being shown a model or a specimen. This is the specimen of a letter, this is a specimen of a notice. See this and write it on those lines. Apparently we may not have been taken through the process. So that is what creates the problem, and that is what leads to rote learning. And it is, although it is unheard of, but it does happen that you mug up for writing skills. So, and now the writing, the MCQs now can be presented. You are being tested through the MCQs. They are being tested in the sense that you can have standalone, or you can have a case-based, assertion, reasoning, these 3 main kinds. Now the standalone would refer to the format or to the general idea, and case-based, as the word suggests, and assertion and reasoning. Why would you select this option? What is the reason? So sometimes what happens is we are so familiar with the answer that we tend to immediately pick it up, and we don't try to give it a thought, we don't try to assert, we don't try to reason. So that is an important part. And then there are some principles on which these MCQs are framed. Now those principles, we start with the stem. Now what is stem? It's the top part, or you could say the beginning of a question. We refer to the beginning of a question as a stem. Now these questions or the stems can be presented as a question. What do you think would be the best way of ending an article? Then you have the choices A, B, C, D. So this MCQ is by way of a question. When it is a question, so obviously you are answering starting with a capital letter and ending with a full stop. There are, and this type you could be tested for format, content, accuracy and fluency. Yes, in this case in writing, 3 more words I want you to remember. That is how you are evaluated. You are evaluated on your content, grammatical accuracy and fluency. So remember, on these aspects also your MCQs are framed. Okay. Then the second could be a complete statement. For example, pick the option that lists or compares or displays contrast. So here you can have questions like identify the main idea in dash dash, and then you have the choices. Okay. Then you have incomplete statement. The statements are incomplete. Now in attempting these incomplete statements, please ensure, take care that you write in small letters because it is in continuation, and you end in a full stop if it is at the end of the sentence. So what normally happens is children write out in capital or sometimes a mixture of both. So here please remember, it is a completion of a sentence, it is a continuing sentence. Okay. Now then, for example, the notice should be written in dash language. Now here there are a number of choices. For example, dash and dash, dash and dash dash, dash and dash. So the first one did not have a full stop, the second one has a full stop. Then there are 3 dashes and full stop. So these are the very fine print or minor things that you need to be very careful about. Then comes the assertion and reasoning. Questions like select the option that connects or applies to assertion and reasoning. Suppose there is a forceful statement, select the reason, why would you select this, or sometimes absolutely true or false. Now MCQs also we have lots and hots. Now lots is low order and HOTS is high order. Now in this case, of course, children, what you are doing is whatever you study, you understand. Now something you've understood by way of remembering or actually understanding. Now if you cater to remembering, then you'll remember and maybe you forget after a while. But if you've understood and you remember, then you're able to apply that knowledge in analyzing something, maybe in this kind of a question, assertion and reasoning. You can analyze, you can evaluate, and that would help you out in attempting those MCQ questions. So these are some of the parameters on which the MC questions are based. Now the main question is, as repeatedly we've said earlier, fundamentals clear, your concept should be very clear. See, all these competitive exams, they are MCQ based. Number one, I mean, they test the accuracy of your language. So as they say, you cannot fool all the people all the time. So there, you cannot fool by way of saying, well, this answer appears to be correct, so I will go in for this. No, there has to be a logic, there has to be a reasoning for that. So in this case, the answer is practice and practice, lots of practice. And something very important in this is, see, you have 20 minutes now to read. So first you read through all the, you have to read through the entire thing, entire paper very carefully, and then as and when you feel you are very confident in knowing a particular answer, you can attempt that, and any answer which you do not know, don't panic, don't rush, just leave that, move ahead, and then second reading come back and see if you could recall, you could answer it, fine. If not, then still you need to think. Now sometimes when you think, you are able to get the answer, and more or less what happens is that many a time the answer is in the next question. So sometimes, normally we do avoid that, but sometimes if you are unable to get the answer, read the earlier question and the latter question. So maybe sometimes subsequently you are able to get the answer to that. So this is the general thing, how it is based, and then I think the best would be to go through certain questions.
Absolutely. Before that, I would like to ask you that you mentioned about the incomplete statement, where you said that if one puts a full stop at the end of the sentence, that means it's complete. So aren't these basic things being taught to the students in an early stage and not for class 12th?
That's a pity. That's a pity. That is what you're saying, that whatever you study, you need to understand.
Right.
You need to understand. You need to know. Now see, this takes us back to punctuation. When and why do you have a comma, full stop, semicolon and all. So once you've understood that in your initial stages, you won't be making those mistakes.
True.
But we still find those mistakes.
Really?
Even in class 12. So that is why we need to tell them, well, take care.
Okay, okay. So it's not rote learning, they have to understand it.
Exactly. So the basic purpose of MCQ is to take you away from this.
Okay.
And as it is now, the now CBSE and the NEP, they are catering to the present demands of the 21st century. See, and that is, you need to be able to solve problem. For example, this MCQ, be able to take a decision and be able to communicate, collaborate, teamwork. So all these are the essentials of 21st century learning, which have been thrown into the background, although we've come almost 21 years. So anyway, better late than never. So whatever you begin the first time, you do find it difficult, and some of us maybe don't like this and we have resistance to change. Why spoil the apple cart when things are thing, everybody is happy. But then if you make slight effort, if that brings about an improvement, why not?
True, true. absolutely. And I guess I am understanding that why have you picked this particular topic. So MCQs are being focused on instead of subjective type questions
Yes.
like earlier. Okay, all right. So you mentioned regarding the notices that the fundamentals should be clear. Would you like to throw some light on that?
Okay. Now see, notice like all writing skills, you start with the format.
True.
You start with the format and then the content and the conclusion. Now all notices basically are to be written, are to be enclosed in a box. It has to be enclosed in a box, but if you do not do it, marks are not deducted for that as such. But we take that in the format part of it. Now see the notice, you have the issuing, which school or which organization has issued this notice. Then you have the heading. Heading is generally written in capital letters, generally you have the choice. So heading, and then on the left hand side you write the date and then you start your content. Now see, the date could be anywhere so long the date is there, but since we are following the block method in letter writing, that is everything on the left, one straight line. So it is better that you write it on the left side. And then again after the format, so the format is the issuing and authority, and then there is the heading, the date, the content, and then the end part of it, that is who has issued, the authenticity of the notice, who has issued. So signature, name and issuing authority.
Okay.
And the content, of course, now see, mind you, 50 words, 50 words, so within 50 words you have to frame out all that, and that too in complete correct language, grammatically correct language, and there should be fluency also, there should be a sequence to it as well. So again you have to take care, what is this notice about? Say this notice is about my recording today. So then who's issuing this? Maybe NCERT is issuing, and then what would this notice say? That recording, you've been asked to record such and such thing on this date, this time, on this topic. So you have all the essentials, what, when, where, why and how. How would you do it? Then issuing authority, authenticity is very important. Suppose somebody has played a prank on me and I go to NCERT and I find, so there of course it has to be under the name of the and the designation of the person.
Okay, and if any one of these points gets wrong, maybe the grammatical errors are there, then the marks will be deducted.
Yes. So now we teach our children, see how you are evaluated.
Right.
It's 3 marks, 1, 1, 1. So 1 mark for format. Now format, as I have just told you, heading, issuing and all those things, imagine just for 1 mark.
Yes.
And 1 mark is for content, you have all those WWs and H. And then of course accuracy. Accuracy is grammar. There should be no grammatical errors, tenses and spellings and all those kind of things. And fluency. Fluency in the sense, not that on this date and then a recording and then you say, oh, at this time. So it has to be in logical sequence.
Okay. Okay. And so this was all about notice. Which other format are we going to talk about?
See, for class 12, the other format is the advertisement.
Okay.
Now, see, it has, CBSE has, say, the short writing skills and the long writing skills. So, amongst the short writing skills, we have the notice and the advertisement. Notice is for class 11 as well this year. Okay. And then for the long writing skills, we have article and letter writing.
Okay, okay. Ma'am, a few minutes back you said practice is the key. So the more a student practices, the less errors they make in the future.
Yes.
So what all suggestions would you like to give to our 12th class students for practicing more?
See, practicing, number 1, remember the concepts very clearly. And if we are discussing any writing skills, say article, now article of course heading. Now article has 3 parts, beginning, middle and end. So how would you always remember this beginning, middle and end? Think of a burger, it has a top, the beginning, so attractive, tempting, and then the filling inside is the the content that you have, and the conclusion is the base of the burger. So the amount of filling depends on the content and the support sentences and all that. And then to ensure that your support sentences filling is always there, then you may have had a spicy burger. You can go in for Oreo biscuit, which is round and very sweet. So O-R-E-O, Oreo. So opinion on the topic. R is your reason of the opinion. E is evidence. And then R is, O is again reinforce your opinion. So you will never be able to forget the parts of a writing skill. So these are the few things, and then when you revise, so you need to add something, you need to remove some words, and you need to add, remove and move, and then you need to shift. So A-R-M-S, arms. So this way, I mean, you can remember little things, then you'll never be able to forget. So once the concept is very clear, so however the question is based, whether it is a complete or an incomplete or it is reasoning, you'll be able to attempt that.
Great, great. So the abbreviations, they are a wonderful way to learn anything. Okay, and I really liked the Oreo thing. Okay, so moving forward, would you like to give us some examples, ma'am, for MCQs?
Okay, on what topic first?
Any topic you wish to.
Okay, now see, I would first of all go to your sample paper which has been issued by CBSE.
Okay.
That is authentic and everybody has it. Okay.
You've taken notes on that?
Oh yes.
Okay.
I have written all sorts of notes jotted down here and there.
Great.
So you could do the same.
Okay. So ma'am, the font is a little small and it's not clearly visible. So I would request you to please read it out, each and everything.
Okay. Okay. Now see, one thing important to note here is that the rubric remains the same for a couple of questions. Rubric remains the same for a couple of questions. Now, of course, other than this, I have other examples also, but I concentrate on the sample paper. The president of RWA, Chevrolet Heights, Kozhikode, has to put up a notice to inform residents about a power cut for their residential area. You need to read and understand the rubric very well. Now see, we've been talking repeatedly of product, purpose, target and all that thing. Now what have you been asked to do? To put up a notice. And you know what a notice is? Piece of information, brief piece of information. Okay. Now you have to put up a notice for what purpose? To inform. Target reader, who to inform? The residents. So these 3-4 words have made it very clear. About what? A power cut for the residential area. Now select the appropriate title for the notice. Choosing own power cut, scheduled power cut, the need to say power, power and resident safety. Now the title tells us the purpose. And what is this based on? What part of notice is it based on? Format. It is based on the format because they are asking for title. And title in a notice talks about the purpose. So in this case, the correct option would be scheduled power cut. Why scheduled? Because they are informing you beforehand. It does not need to say power or choosing your own power cuts, but it is a schedule. They are informing you. Then next question, select the option that lists the most accurate opening for this notice. So what's the key word here? Opening. So now in the content part you have opening, you have beginning, middle and end. Think of the burger here again. So opening, and what is here being asked here? Organization of ideas. I did tell you about coda, and I'll just stop here for a moment to talk more about the coda, C-O-D-E-R, coda. Now coda is for all writing skills, you need to collect ideas, organize ideas, edit them, rough draft and then write it out. So writing, when it talks of the format, See, writing as a product is, say, notice. Let's take the example of notice. So, notice is a product of writing. Now, writing skill is the process that we go through. And what is that process? The coder. So, the MCQs are generally created out of the coder. So, coder is another word which you are not supposed to be forgetting at all. And for coder, as I told you, those 4 or 5 words, you have 5 fingers, think of those 5 words. You have purpose, target reader, and product, process, and coder. So, these are your 5 fingers and 5 important words for all writing skills. So, then we come to the organization, COD. So, this is the organization part of it. Now, here it is the opening, greetings and attention, notice is written to share some news, this is to inform the residents and all, I wish to share with all the officials and all that. So, what would be the most appropriate opening? This is to inform the residents of Chevrolet Heights about what. Now, another word, this is to inform, can be conveniently avoided because the word notice means information. Notice means information. So, if you are actually framing a notice within 50 words, then you could cut out this is to inform, and you can start straight away, the residents have been told about this. Okay. So, here for format and then the organization of ideas. Then we come to the content part. The next question is, select the option with the information points to be included in the body of the notice. So, body of the notice now, the keyword here is the middle part, and middle part is the content. And what are the choices? Opinion about regular power cuts, resolution for power cuts, reason for the power cut, timings of the power cut, complaint against regular power cuts, on date of the power cut. So, these are so many choices. And then now see in that options you have, first one is 1 and 4. So, what is the first one is? Opinion about regular power cuts, and the fourth one is timing of the power cut. Then similarly, next choices 2, 3 and 5, third choice is 2 and 6, and last is 3, 4 and 6. So, what would be the correct answer here would be 3. Now, what is number 3? Reason for the power cut. Number 4, timings of the power cut, and number 6 is date of the power cut. So, when do you have the power cut, what time and what date? So, this is content. Now, we again coming to format. Would this notice reflect the name of the RWA? Would it reflect the name? How important it is? So, it is a part of the format. Yes, because it is the issuing authority. No, because it's understood through the signature. Yes, because it makes it informal. No, because the title makes it clear. So, the title makes it clear? No. So, would this notice reflect the name of the RWA? Yes, because it is the issuing authority. So, this is a part of the format. And then we come to the conclusion. Select the appropriate conclusion for this notice. So, conclusion is the end part. What does it say? What are the choices? Stay informed, collaboration solicited, stay prepared, inconvenience regretted. So, what do they conclude? Stay informed, or your collaboration is needed, or inconvenience is regretted. So, what is the important part of the conclusion is? Stay prepared. Stay prepared for what? Power cuts. When? What date? What time? So, this is the content part of it. Now, see, so we have seen now the importance of all those 5 words, and all these MCQs are based on that format and all these things. Then another word for this would be, what are the topics? Topics in the sense that you have to identify, find out the main idea, or cause and effect, and sequence. Those are also some of the other important things. Okay. Now, if you want, I could go on and on with notices. I have other examples too. Okay. Now next one you want me to do?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Now see, did you notice this? Answer any 4 out of 5 questions. So there is a choice. I am going forwards and backwards because of the important things. Now see, the general mistakes the children have been making. So that is what I am trying to point out. We learn from other people's mistakes. Now see, the top page says general instructions. So I would suggest, maybe if we could write, read very carefully.
Okay.
Read very carefully. And I think now you're going to get 20 minutes to read. Reading time is 20 minutes.
Okay.
But that time you are not supposed to be marking, but somehow you could decide the questions that you could do first.
Okay.
Now see, this paper contains 3 sections, and here it has given you the total number of questions, 18 questions, and out of 18 you have to do 14. And then in the writing skill, out of 12 you have to do 10, and in the literature part, out of 30 you have to do 26. So that means the total 50 questions. 50 questions you have to do within an hour and a half, and that is 40 marks. Now what generally happens is, 50 questions you have to do, so the children do the first 50 and leave the rest.
Okay.
So in that case what happens is, now this is evaluation is computer generated. So the computer will take first 50 and you have lost out on the choices and all that. You have not taken care of the choices.
Right.
And you have taken care of the 50.
So they didn't understand the
Yes.
sentence properly.
Yes,
Okay.
these instructions, they didn't understand these instructions. See, for example, as I just said in this notice, answer any 4 of the following.
Yes.
Now you are answering 5. It is counterproductive. And like this, I mean, you've completed 50.
So even 12th class students make such mistakes?
Exactly.
Oh, so that's
That is
surprising.
that is what, you know, we teachers have been discussing. Look, what are the mistakes the children make?
Right.
So guard them against these. Don't do this. This is very careful.
This is very
Preparing them.
appropriate then in such times
Yes.
when students are going through all the examinations online. And ma'am, which year's sample paper is this, if I may
This is the
ask?
latest sample paper from the board, CBSE.
Okay,
This is the they'll be taking the first exam in November, December.
true.
Yes, this is the first exam, first sample. So this is the most authentic because it's come from CBSE.
Okay, then this program has become even more important for everyone to watch.
I hope so. And then it says all questions carry equal marks.
Right,
Most important thing is that there is no negative marking.
perfect.
See, when we are told about negative marking, don't leave any question. I mean, whichever alphabet you like best, you start ticking that and all that. All those, I mean, shortcuts, tricks, and those that have been going around. So we have been very, very careful to prepare our children on those lines, because this is the new normal. It has come to stay. And repeatedly I'm saying, I mean, for the past couple of years, I've been insisting on 21st century skills, which have been conveniently ignored because we tend to take the easy path.
Yes.
And here it is slightly difficult to create the MCQs, but then it tests the accuracy of the child. So MCQ, in a way, see, when it first came, it was quite shocking. Writing skill, MCQ? My God, writing skill is always supposed to be subjective.
True.
And how come? But then when you think, when you analyze, and you see, yes, it is a very good thing.
But then how will a teacher checks the students' grammar through MCQs?
Yes. Now see, now this paper is a combination of both, subjective and objective.
Okay.
And grammar is also checked here also. Grammar is checked here also. Now see, there are certain options whereby we'll misspell a word.
Okay.
And see, homonyms and antonyms and all that, we could use those words to test the accuracy of the child. So grammar also is being tested.
Right.
And fluency is also being tested. We'll come across some questions whereby we've been asked to identify, put them into the logical sequence.
Okay.
So frequency is tested there.
That's a smart way actually.
Exactly, smart and a very good way. Because this is just to test the accuracy. Now see, for example, as a teacher, suppose I don't know what is the content for, what is the format for, say, notice or letter writing. Better still letter writing.
Right. Right.
Suppose I don't know when to say faithfully or sincerely. Sorry. So I could just say, okay, do this, but a child should know. Now I'll give you an example. We generally write thank you. So thank you should not be written. Sorry.
Yes. So we're talking about how it is a mixture of objective as well as subjective paper, and this CBSE paper is the latest one which we are discussing here. So please watch this session. If you have missed the initial part of this session, then please watch it again on NCERT official. It's available over there, and if you have any questions, we are here, we are waiting. Being a teacher, you can raise your questions. Being a student, regarding this paper, regarding the objectives, the format, anything you want to ask, please go ahead. So let's come back and listen to what ma'am has to say on this. Ma'am.
So accuracy is very important,
Right.
and this is how we are actually, now see what happens is in the initial stages, a very common example, everybody knows the alphabets. Now you generally say G, H, W. So these are some things that the correct pronunciation should be insisted upon right from the initial stages.
True.
It is H, and it's not W, it is W.
Yeah.
And how do you pronounce V? You have to bite the lower lip.
Yeah.
So these are some of the basics which, number one, we need to know ourselves. If we don't know, then of course we are never too old to learn. We learn from each other. So 21st century is collaboration. I wonder if you recall when we had the CC, that did take care of all these things. It was a continuous evaluation. So now see, the paper is now of two parts, the term 1 and term 2. The term 1 is exclusively MCQ. That means your accuracy, your knowledge is being tested. And then second term, subjective, how you express yourself, how you write.
Okay.
And then of course how it is divided, the content is limited, so it is quality and quantity. So a lot has been worked out for the betterment of the students, so that the quality of students is raised.
Okay. And if I talk about the evaluation, is it done leniently or strictly?
That's a
Being
tricky
a teacher,
question.
Being a teacher, what would you say?
okay. Now see, the teacher's purpose should not be to penalize a student.
Okay.
Once we have the red pen in our hand, see where all you can color it red. That should not be the endeavor. And even if a child has made a mistake, maybe have minimum of red. I mean, if it is exam, of course, no way out. But in the class itself, have different ways of checking. And tell the child, well, find out your own error. You made a mistake here. So the child will go through, the child will read, and the child will be able to identify his or her own error. So this will stay. Otherwise, rather than saying, okay, this spelling is misspelled, okay, I write SP, write it 5 times. The child may not remember, may forget about it. So it's understanding and it's applying. And whatever you've understood, you can apply it at any situation, at any point in time.
Right.
Any kind of a question, you could do it. So this way, I mean, this change, I think it's a welcome change.
It is.
Because number one, you're testing the accuracy. And then in the second term, the subject is your expression.
True. So it is surely a welcome change, but only after the exams we'll get to know that how much is it being accepted by the students, right?
Yes, but I would still say a lot depends on the teachers.
Okay.
See, like in the CC also.
Yeah.
CC also, most of the teachers were not aware, they were not willing to learn, and of course resistance to change and all that. But I loved CC. My style of teaching was always CC based, although the word CC wasn't there. And I taught in the manner that I was taught by my own teachers in school ages ago. So, I mean, it is good.
So you have been a good student.
Oh no, not at all. Good learner, you can say, yes.
Okay. So what else do you have to show to our viewers?
Okay, so we discussed the notice.
We did.
Okay. Now,
Ma'am, we've got last 14 minutes left.
14 minutes. Okay, then I'll speed up.
Yes, yes.
Because we teachers, we tend to talk and talk. And that is why we, now present century says it should be STT and not TTE.
Which is?
That is, our teaching should be, student talk time should be more and teacher talk time should be less. So the children should be given more opportunity to talk. Talk, not create a ruckus and all that, but project work and collaboration, decision making, 21st century skill again.
Okay.
All that thing. Okay. Now I'll go to the article again, that CBSE paper. Now see, the MCQ questions can be in the form, as I told you earlier, that they are complete statement, incomplete statement. Then they are in this form. They are in the form of bars. They are in the form of say emojis, and they are in the form of pictures as well. Now see, I'll read out the heading and I'll be rather quick about it. Vinu is a member of Coexistence, a school club that actively promotes animal rights and care. He has to write an article emphasizing the need for prevention of cruelty to animals and peaceful coexistence between animals and human beings. So we need to understand the question. So what is the question talking about? Actively promotes. Purpose? What? Right and the care. And then how are you promoting? Through an article. An article emphasizing what? The need for prevention of cruelty to animals and peaceful coexistence between animals and human beings. So there are so many things in this, and it's a complete statement. So the first question is based on a format. Select the option that lists an appropriate title. So title is a part of the format, and this is a complete statement. Then the second question, which option 1 to 4 should Vinu choose to elaborate on reasons for cruelty to animal? So this comes from the content part. Now see, all these things are first arrow pointing out towards overwork, cruelty towards animals, materialism, and how poaching and greed. So using pet and wild animals for work to earn money. So like this, there are a couple of choices. Now what is this? This talks of collection and organization. Collection of ideas, coder the first part, and then it is also organizing those ideas. So it is C and O. There are a couple of choices. So we go to the question again, elaborate the reasons for cruelty to animals. So what are the reasons? Malicious intent, neglect, poaching, greed, poaching, habitat. So then we've selected with, we are with this one, the cruelty towards animal, poaching, greed, habitat, materialistic gains and harm. So this is number 4. So number 4 is the correct option, that is malicious intent, neglect, poaching habitat, destruction, starvation, insufficient. Now see, between 3 and 4, now another thing about MCQ is you have plausible distractors. You have only one correct answer, and they can be a plausible distractor. So you have to make a decision choice out of the two, which is the correct one. So how do you start? You start with the process of elimination. The choice which is wrong, eliminated. Then the second one, this is, could be, no it couldn't be. And then you narrow it down to 2. So reasoning and how this could be the correct answer.
Okay.
Now see, pretty long over here. Which option would help Vinu with the appropriate organization of relevant ideas for this article? I'll read it again. Which option would help Vinu with the appropriate organization of relevant ideas for this article? So this is based on the content, and the stem, the question is there. So what are we doing? This is the content. Now what makes a content? Beginning, middle and end. Introduction, content and conclusion. Now I would quickly read out the correct answer. Expressing concern about several cases of cruelty to animals, exploring the reasons, stating the effects, providing suggestions for peaceful coexistence, presenting to a conclusive outlook. So what is the beginning here in the introduction? Expressing concern about several cases. So that is the introduction. Middle is exploring the reasons, then you stating the effects. Remember the burger and the Oreo? Providing suggestions for peaceful coexistence, and then presenting a conclusive outlook. So this choice has, now when you have the paper with you, you could read out these others and you will be able to see, for example in the C, presenting a pledge for awareness. This is not mentioned in the rubric. So you have to read through the question very well to be able to know what is it that is asked for. So this is organization, content, and the next one is which suggestions from those given below would be appropriate for Venu's article. So here again it is the summary, organization, the question, content and conclusion. This is what it is based on. Then the next question is read a sentence from Venu's article, draft and help him complete by selecting the most appropriate option. So here they have even mentioned the word draft. So draft is the third part of the coda. Now as I was telling you about starting with the small letter and capital and all, here is that example. Often due to the dash of the humans and with the dash for the animals. So the correct, I am reading out the correct choice, that is often to the fear of humans. So often to the fear, small letters again, of the humans and with disastrous results for the animals. Then the next one, which quote would Venu use to summarize the central idea? Now what is the central idea? The treatment of animals. And what do you conclude? Now there are a whole lot of quotations. So I would read out some for you. Clearly animals know more than we think and think a great deal more than we know. Can you fit in this in the article? No. Then a tiger may pray, "Oh Lord, how wicked are these men who do not come and place themselves before me to be eaten. They are breaking your law." Swami Vivekananda. So the greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by way its animals are treated. I don't think so that is the greatness of a nation. Animals are such agreeable friends, they ask no questions, they pass no criticism. So plausible between animals, this and the greatness. So this quote is by Mahatma Gandhi, and one of the aspects of a greatness of a nation can be this: moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. We have all that cow business in all these days. The last one is read the following options for the self checklist for this article and select the option that includes the most appropriate self check. Now see coder, you are editing, revising and all those kind of things. So this question is based on assertion and reasoning. Assertion and reasoning, and then it is in the form of a set of questions. First one has a couple of choices. My article contains this, this. So since it is about assertion and reasoning, so I'll read out the correct answer. An eye-catchy title that is thematically related, content that offers a balanced view of the issue, input for the cause, effect and suggestions, conclusion including personal observations and a byline. So this takes care of all and by way of reasoning. So the second choice is the correct one.
Okay.
And
yes.
lots is left.
Lots is left.
Okay, I'll quickly do the letter writing.
We've got last 3 minutes left. Will that be enough?
Okay. In the letter, the questions basically are on the format and tricky things. Tricky things, I'll give you an example. Okay. Now, normally we write thank you for all letters.
Yes.
But what are the two kinds of letters that you do not write thank you? That is a letter to the editor and a letter of complaint. So this is how we are testing.
Why don't we write thank you for the letter to the editor?
Because of the specific purpose. Now the editor is not answerable to what you are asking. So the purpose of the letter to the editor is to create awareness. It has no specific purpose, to create general awareness. Okay. And then he is not accountable to you that he has done it or he hasn't done it.
Oh. What if the reader wants to know that yes, my letter has been read by the editor and no, a confirmation is required?
No, confirmation in a letter to the editor is by way of that it is being printed.
Okay.
And then again the subscription, faithfully, sincerely and all that. So the best is yours truly. Yours truly, small t, because yours truly is like a joker in a pack of cards. When in doubt, you can conveniently fit in there. But the letter to the editor will have only yours truly.
And why is that?
To segregate it from the others, identify it.
Okay, makes total sense.
So there is lots and lots, but next time.
Yes, absolutely. So maybe we'll continue the same topic in the next session as well. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us here today. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you to all the students for joining this very interesting and very appropriate session today. And the topic was assessment of writing skills, a new normal perspective. If you have not watched this session, please watch it again. It's very different from the others, and it was very unique. So please watch it. ncertofficial, that is the medium you need to use. Keep on watching PMeVIDYA channels. I'll take a leave of you right now, but stay here. Take great care of yourself, and we're wrapping up these sessions for the day. We'll come back again on Monday with more sessions for more topics, for more classes. Thank you once again. Namaskar.